Hello, everyone, and welcome to the College of Law and Centre for Legal Innovation's New Law Career Series. I'm Terry Mottershead, the Executive Director of the Centre for Legal Innovation at the College of Law. Today, I'll be discussing the role of a family law mediator with the always wonderful Fiona Kirkman. Fiona is the principal of Kirkman Family Law and the CEO and legal co-founder of Family Property. Welcome, Fiona.
Hi, Terry. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely wonderful to have you. Mediation has such an important role to play in family law, especially in trying to make it, more amicable in what is otherwise obviously an incredibly emotional and difficult situation. So really looking forward to chatting about the role of a family law mediator today. Before we dive into the role, Fiona, could you tell us a little bit about how you came to it or how it found you or what appealed about the role to you?
Yes, well, I've been in the legal industry for coming on 20 years next year, and I have, I guess, progressed in my career, becoming more specialised in family law and then family law mediation. And what I was finding as a lawyer is that I was quite frustrated by the cost, the time and the stress involved for the parties, as well as for us lawyers, in the traditional family law litigation court process. And I was really enjoying the settlements and really working with clients to help them reach an agreement. And I loved getting the golden ticket of those consent orders. So I was really passionate about resolution without court and really trying to empower separated families to resolve disputes efficiently and amicably. And I thought, come to a time in my career that I really wanted to focus on mediation instead of the traditional court path. So I started my practice about 6 years ago now, Kirkman Family Law, with a focus on family mediation and collaborative practice and resolution without court.
Fantastic. So I've got to ask you this question. What do family law mediators actually do? So kind of what does a typical day look like for a mediator in a mediation, I guess?
So my role as a family mediator is to act as an independent, impartial person. So I'm there really to facilitate the discussion between the parties, and if they have lawyers, the lawyers as well, and really to manage the mediation process to help them resolve the family law, financial or property settlement disputes, as well as the parenting arrangements for their children. So really, I'm working with both parties. I can't provide legal advice or legal representation to either of them, nor can I impose a decision on them about the financial arrangements or the parenting arrangements. Instead, I'm there to help them hopefully actively listen to each other and bridge that gap and try to reach an agreement that they're both willing to live with.
Absolutely. So I can kind of hear from what you're saying that there's a bunch of skills and capabilities and knowledge across the board there. Some of them sound like human skills, and some of them sound like, I guess, those that we might find in more traditional training. So tell us what is that combination of skills and capabilities and knowledge that you need to do the role?
Okay, so there's the hard skills or the training. There's lawyer mediators and there's social science mediators. So you generally either have that law degree or a social science degree. And then there's some specific training to become a family mediator. There's a national mediation accreditation course, which is a short course to become a mediator. And then there's a family dispute resolution course, which is generally about 6 months. I know the College of Law, and I work with the College of Law in regards to that course, where you learn the specifics of becoming a family mediator. Then you're registered with the Attorney General's office, And that's sort of the hard skills and training you need to be accredited as a nationally accredited mediator and family dispute resolution practitioner. But as you said, in addition to those hard skills, there's also the soft skills. And I'm a big believer of the combination between the IQ, or the actual theory of mediation, the EQ, and those soft skills, really important, that emotional intelligence and the communication, and the AI is becoming increasingly important. So the technology skills, particularly with COVID, a lot of mediations have moved online. So the capability to be able to use online video technology and other technology that helps in the family mediation process. So those soft skills are really important in family mediation. You're working with two parties that are in conflict, and you're trying to help them both manage the emotional side of the separation as well as the family law issues. So you need to have that knowledge of the family law, but also the knowledge of how to manage people who are often in grief and trying to cope with the new reality of being separated, and often having to continue to work as co-parents for their children. So it's a lot about empathy, listening skills, communication, and really working with the parties to help direct them towards a settlement in a structured conversation.
Absolutely. And Fiona, you picked a couple of really important points there that I just wanted to explore a little bit more with you in the role. And that is that difference now of having mediation in person versus, I'm going to say, online, for want of a better expression. What are kind of the differences that you're seeing there in terms of the skill set and how you apply it in person and online?
Yes, well, pre-COVID, I think I was doing over 90% face-to-face.
Yeah.
Versus since COVID, it's probably now 90% online.
Wow.
Which is quite interesting. And with online, you do need to be confident with the technologies that you're using. There's an array of video technologies. I use Zoom as an example, and you do need to be able to the basics of turning people on mute to manage the conversation, using breakout rooms, putting the people in the right room is always
absolutely,
so that you can have breakout discussions, and so that they can have private discussions with their lawyers, etc. But also sharing the screen and documenting an agenda, documenting points of agreement, etc., is really useful. So I actually really enjoy the online mediation, and I think for families going through separation, being in the comfort of either their lawyer's office, which is, I'm noticing the party will go into their lawyer's office and work with them, the other party will go to their office and I'll be online. They feel more comfortable than the stress of all being in the one room together. So I think it's something that has remained since restrictions have opened up, and I think something that will continue to be prominent in family mediation online.
Really, really interesting change in the role, I guess, as a result of that. Couple of other questions there. You mentioned, and I just want to underscore, we're talking about family law mediators today, but of course there are a world of mediators in a whole bunch of different specialist areas. So just kind of a quick mention there. The other one I just wanted to ask you about skills and capabilities. I'm sure, given that what's changing and how things are changing, not least of which the law, that there is also a requirement around continuing professional development for family law mediators. What does that look like?
So there is a requirement for you to conduct a number of mediations in a 2-year period, but also to participate in ongoing continuing professional development. I think it's about 20 hours in a 2-year period. And there's a number of course providers that offer ongoing education, again, around the emotional sort of side of managing mediations, the family law side, sometimes the technology side as well. So that's really important. It is constantly changing, the family law's changing, but also the skills of a mediator and what's required of us. As our role moves, I think, more from the traditional pathway of people going through separation, I'm separating, I need to rush off to a lawyer, to what we like to call ourselves as first responders, maybe consider coming to a mediator first, and going to a mediator can often be a more amicable pathway. And also there's a big emphasis now with the new Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia case management pathway to participate in mediation before you go to court, but also if the matter goes to court, being referred back out to mediation. And the mediator can really, as well as facilitating that discussion, can really help act as basically a case manager and work with you and the lawyers, and also bring in other professionals as needed, like financial professionals, child consultant, counsellors, etc. So that holistic approach when you're going through separation, I think is really important. As a family mediator, having that good referral network and being able to work collaboratively with other professionals, I think is really important. Something that we'll see moving forward in the future.
Yeah, absolutely essential. And while we're talking about the future, great segue into the last question I wanted to ask you, which is, where do you see the role changing? Is it an incremental thing? Are there some really big things on the horizon, which, you know, it's likely to move towards? What will it look like as we look ahead for the next year or two or three or five, even, if that's the right parameter?
Well, as I said, I think that role of family mediator as first responder and working holistically and collaboratively with the other professionals, with the emphasis on family dispute resolution by the courts, pre-filing, post-filing, I think we'll see an ever-increasing emphasis and more work in the family mediation space. And lastly, with technology, as well as moving mediations from face-to-face to online, using technology like our product, Family Property, to help prepare, model and document family law outcomes is something that you'll see technology helping to automate the admin as much as possible, which then frees up the family mediators to focus on hopefully what we do best and what we love, which is to facilitate that discussion, work with the emotions of the parties and really help them to look at resolution without court. So focus on those soft skills and let the technology automate the admin.
I love that what we're looking at is potentially more and more focus on the human side of things.
Yes,
in what is obviously an incredibly human situation that we're working with as well as the mediators. So Fiona, thanks so much for chatting with us today. Really, really appreciate it. Really excited actually about this role and how it has expanded and how it will in the future. So very grateful for your expertise and input on this today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry.
Absolutely a pleasure. A recording of this session will be available shortly as a video and a podcast, so you will be able to catch it there. If you'd like to receive information about updates or the release dates of these recordings or the work of the College of Law and the Centre of Legal Innovation, please be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And I know that you'll find Fiona, should you wish to make contact with her, in all of those social media places at the very least as well. Again, thank you very much.